Hello, hello, my green skins, and I'm kind of surprised that Scarface won a little bit. I don't know. See, a part of me wonders how many people have watched Scarface recently. I was also thinking about doing the original Scarface just to kind of like do that, but I kind of wanted kind of the whole Untouchables thing and the Scarface thing. It was kind of like kind of a little play and tip of the hat. I am fascinated by this movie. My friend calls it 80s Macbeth. That's what he refers to it as. And in some ways I can see how. In other ways I can't. This is going to be controversial. I will be very surprised because the next first battle is going to be Scarface versus the Goodfellas. I would have to say this is going to be interesting in a lot of ways. I'm really interested to see which one wins out of those two movies. So let's break it down with the acting and the cast. Okay, so the cast for Scarface is interesting because I don't know half of these people. So best way to put it is the only two people I know, I know a couple, but the only two real people that are kind of the big part of this movie is Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer. And Michelle Pfeiffer makes me surprised. There's also Mark Margolis, which is more well known for Breaking Bad, and Richard Benzer is more known for other stuff. Like, it's kind of funny. The guys made more of a name for themselves after the fact than they did for this movie. And this movie, in a lot of ways, kind of has that thing. Like, this is Al Pacino acting. And how do I put this? Some people say this is just Al Pacino acting like Al Pacino. Some people say he fell into the role and this was a perfect role for him. My energy's like this. Al Pacino did this role, and then he never stopped doing this role. This became his energy. Like, that's the best way to put it. This is him being him after making this movie. um yeah, that's how I see it. Tell me how you feel about this. Did Al Pacino, did he become Tony Montana, or was he just acting like Al Pacino at the time? It's weird because you see these elements of Tony Montana in more movies later on. Like, he still has that suave, that swagger, but later on it just seems like he took that element of Tony Montana and it just became a part of him. And so next we're going to get to the story, and I hate to say it, this is going to be another video where I'm going to have to add a little bit of everything. So I'm probably going to do the music, then I'm going to do the story, then I'm going to finally touch on the final little bit of the kind of combination of the three, because this is a little bit of a crazy movie. Well, it's a 2 hour and 40 minute movie. So, yeah. We got some stuff to touch off on. So, the music for this movie is goddamn 80s. Like, that highly dark, seedy side of the 80s where it kind of steals some disco. It kind of steals a little bit of A, a little bit of B, a little bit of E. Like, we're right at that point before we hit that punk, leather jacket, fuck you mentality. We're in between that era. And it works. The music works good. Like the theme music, Push It to Its Limit. I don't think that's the... Some people say that's not the theme. It's like this... Da, 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 that. No. It's Push It to Its Limit. Because that is this movie. It is a movie of an excess in a lot of ways. And a man really trying to grab that success, that like excess, and push it to the limit. Like, that is the theme of this fucking movie. I don't care what anybody says. That's what I think. I think they did a great job. There's a lot of moments in here that work for that, and I think the music was well done. And it works perfect for what it is. It's another, like, fucking out of the park. It seems like mobster movies seem to do this right, where they hit that movie. And American Gangsters is another one I thought had really good music. It seems to work. All right, so next let's get to the story and the film and the filming. And the filming for this. Jesus, can I talk? So, the filming and the story for this. Now, this is a Cuban man escaping communism. A man who wants it all and wants to take and get the American dream. And in a way, he gets the American dream. Unfortunately, it ends up destroying him utterly. To the point that, maybe this man who could have turned his life around turned into more of a frickin' monster than anything else. He says it himself, the bad guy. Say goodnight to the bad guy. That's the thing about this movie. There are so many cool shots for this movie, and it makes me wonder how many people remember this movie for the story and like the environment, for the acting, or the scenes. Because I watch this movie once a year. And I will go and like watch it, like, yeah, it's such a fucking great movie. Click it, 2 hours and 40 minutes. I don't remember it being 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, I remember that scene. I remember. It's like, I get that vibe from this movie. I don't get swept away in it, but I get that vibe. Like, there's scenes that, like, I hate to say it. It's one of those movies where, for the story of a man building himself up from being this Cuban assassin. I guess he's an assassin or he's a hitman. And he builds himself up, a criminal who comes to America for a second chance at life and escape the communists. And now he's here and he basically destroys himself. Like inevitably he becomes powerful. Like my friend said, the 80s Macbeth. And in a way, that's kind of how I feel. But the scene work in this, the story is him literally going all the way up to the end. That's you get to see his life. There's a 3-month skip, but you get to see his life from point A to point B, and when he finally gets to point C, where he gets gunned down, everything leads up to this final destruction, where everything he loved, everything he cares is gone, left him, and he dies. And that's the best way to put it. But the scene work for this, holy shit! From that scene in the riots when they're in Freedom Town, to the iconic moment where he catches the catches the one guy, who basically sent assassins to kill him. That scene is amazing. To the montage, which a lot of people remember that frickin' montage where he's putting out the frickin' tagger. To the iconic scene where he kills a hitman because he doesn't, as much as he's a monster, he can't bring himself to murdering women and children. That's just that bridge too far. He feels that that's too much, so he chooses not to, even though he's like, no man, don't do it. And like at that point, he's so coked out of his mind. It's kind of funny to have that moment where he realizes. To the final moments when, the iconic scene of him sitting in that chair. To the final death scene where he ends up getting gunned down by a guy wearing sunglasses and a shotgun late at night. These are these amazing scenes of this frickin' movie that everyone remembers. The World Is Yours blimp is another great scene. Where he looks up after, like, he has his Macbeth moment where he's looking up after killing the king. And the king's begging and stuff, and he, has his buddy blow his brains out. That's an amazing scene. There are so many moments in this movie that hit on it so long. That's the biggest problem with this movie, is that it's so goddamn long. And you can't cut this movie. I don't think you could cut this movie. Another moment I remember people talking about is the chainsaw moment. Like I said, I remember the scenes. I remember the acting in these scenes. but the movie itself kind of so, like the more I think about it, 80s Macbeth seems to work. That's the best way to put it. I love this movie, and I at the same time I don't love it enough. That's the question. So it's great, but these scenes are just interesting. And I guess I'm surprised to say this. I made it actually to 10 minutes, and like I figure this would be a little longer a review, but I guess I'll be closing off a little early. So what do I think about this movie? I've watched it, and I'm doing this straight from watching it. This is a straight, honest review. I watch it at least once a year. Same with Goodfellas, American Gangster. There's quite a few mob movies I like to watch at least once a year. And this one, I keep coming to that mentality. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes of amazing filming. And the story is good, and the acting is good, but I don't know, there's something there. I wouldn't want to hang out with Tony Montana. I wouldn't want to go drinking with this guy. This guy would probably be a nightmare to hang out with on a day-to-day. He's interesting. And I like Al Pacino. In a lot of ways, I like his acting. I wonder how much of this is just him ad-libbing. It made his career, so giving this movie a rating is going to be interesting. I would have to say, oh, fuck. I'm conflicted. I really am. I think giving it a 9 is too much, but I think giving it anything other than giving it anything lower than an 8, like giving it an 8 is kind of too high, like too low. I guess 8.7. I can't believe I'm saying that. 8.7. Holy shit. If I really think about it, it's... How do you cut this movie and make it short? Like, I've heard there's a cut version. Like, someone cut a version and just made it so that it's a little less, like, drowned. And it cut it down. Maybe that might be something. But I don't know, man. That's a hard cut. There are some movies, I just think that if you cut this movie, there'd be a big problem. So, in my opinion, Goodfellas win. Goodfellas is the superior mobster movie. But what do you guys think? We're going to be having that poll after I finish this video and I put it up. I'll be doing the final poll. And then from that pick, we will have one more video where I kind of discuss my thought process on which movie I thought was better. And, and talk about the winner. I really do think that this is a great movie, but I also think Goodfellas is just the acting in Goodfellas is far superior, where I found the acting in the other movie, best way to put it. It surprises me. I'm just like, a part of me is like, damn, I want to give this a higher rating, but in the back of my brain, I'm like, this doesn't deserve a higher rating. I'd like to thank to everybody who's been listening to my rantings in the wee mornings or the wee nights when you guys decide to watch these. I appreciate that. And I will have some more videos coming up. The poll has been out. You guys want short video reviews of the TV show. What is it there? For Those Who Are About to Die. You guys will be getting that coming up. And I will see you guys next time on Orc War Chief Reviews. Have a good one.